Hello everyone. Today's story is Ahilya Bai Holkar. Author Sandhya Taksal. Illustrator Priyanka Gupta. Publisher Pratham Books. A level 4 story. It's time to turn the pages of history, and now let's start reading this book. A Chance Encounter, 1733. Look at these beautiful horses and elephants. Who brought them here? Squealed Ahilya. Reluctantly, she tore her eyes away from the beautiful animals. It would get dark soon. She hurried inside the temple and lit a lamp. Ahilya closed her eyes and bowed in prayer. Little did she know that she was being watched by Malhar Rao. He was the brave and mighty Subedar, a senior Maratha noble of the Malwa province. On his way to Pune, he had camped in the village of Chondi in Maharashtra. It was his horses and elephants that Ahilya had admired. She has something special about her. She would make a good bride for my son, Khande Rao. Malhar Rao thought. In those days, marriages happened early. Off to Indore. Ahilya was the daughter of the village head, Mankoji Shinde. She hailed from a shepherd family. In those days, girls were not sent to school. Society considered the role of women as only managing the household and taking care of the family. Educating a girl was not given importance, but Ahilya's father thought differently and taught her to read and write. After Ahilya and Khande Rao were married, Ahilya went to Indore, which was in the Malwa province, as the Holkar family's daughter-in-law. The rest is history. She was destined to become a queen. Who was Ahilya Bai? 300 years ago, Maharani Ahilya Bai ruled the Maratha-led Malwa kingdom for 28 years, 1767 to 1795 AD. Her rule of Malwa in the 18th century has gone down in history as a model of benevolent and effective governance. At that time, the Peshwas led the Maratha Empire to new frontiers. Peshwa is a word of Persian origin and means foremost or the first minister. It was a title given to the prime ministers of the Maratha Empire. At its peak, the Maratha Empire extended from Tanjavur in Tamil Nadu to Peshawar, which is now in Pakistan. The northern frontier was held strong by the Shindes of Gwalior and the Holkars of Indore. Malhar Rao was the founder of the Holkar rule. He is particularly known for being the first Maratha Subedar of Malwa in central India. Ahilya Bai ruled Malwa after him. She was a great queen. She restored temples which were destroyed in invasions and built ghats on the banks of the river Narmada. She took care of her subjects and was known as Punya Shalok Ahilya Bai, a Sanskrit title for people of flawless character. A tumultuous life, 1754. Ahilya Bai was just 29 years old when tragedy befell her. The Marathas laid siege upon the Kumbhe fort in Rajasthan, which was then under the Rajput rule. Her husband, Khande Rao, was hit by a cannonball and he died on the spot. It was all over in the blink of an eye. Ahilya Bai was devastated. As was the custom of that time, she was prepared to be a sati. At that time, Hindu women were expected to practice sati jump in their husband's pyre to end her life along with him. It was wrongly thought that a woman's life was of no value if she didn't have a man to take care of her. Sati is now banned in India. Khande Rao had 2 other wives. Polygamy, having more than one wife, was also practiced during those times, and they committed sati on his funeral pyre. However, at that last minute, a heartbroken Malhar Rao stopped Ahilya Bai. "I have lost my only son," he told her. "Don't jump into the pyre. Don't leave us. Now you are like a son to me." With his son dead, Malhar Rao now pinned his hopes on Ahilya Bai. He knew that his daughter-in-law was cleverer than his son, and she would rule Malwa ably and wisely. Taking over the reins, Malhar Rao decided that while he would go to battle, Ahilya Bai would look after their kingdom. He began training Ahilya Bai in defense and administration. He schooled her on the matters of the state through letters when he would travel. On many occasions, according to Maratha custom, Ahilya Bai had accompanied her husband to the battlefield, and she was no stranger to the complexity of planning and waging wars. Once Malhar Rao sent a message to Ahilya Bai. He wanted her to set up an ammunition factory in Gwalior. The factory needed hundreds of workers, efficient supervisors, and oxen to cart the cannons. But it was up and running in no time, mostly because Ahilya Bai had a special skill of picking the right people for the job. What did people say about Ahilya Bai? In his book, The Discovery of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru wrote, Ahilya Bai's reign has become almost legendary as a period during which perfect order and good government prevailed and the people prospered. She was a very able ruler and organizer, highly respected during her lifetime and considered as a saint by a grateful people after her death. British historian John Key called her the philosopher queen. John Malcolm, an officer in British India, documented Ahilya Bai's life after her death. He said that she seems to be one of the purest and most exemplary rulers that ever existed. Who will be the next Subedar? 15 years after Khande Rao's death, Malhar Rao passed away. He had been Ahilya Bai's biggest supporter. The Peshwas appointed Ahilya Bai's son, Malay Rao, as the Subedar. He was 21 years old. However, the day-to-day administrative duties continued to be performed by Ahilya Bai in her capacity as Malay Rao's guardian or queen regent. Sadly, Malay Rao could only be Subedar for 9 months. He suffered from a mental illness, and in one such frenzied moment, he killed a weaver. Ahilya Bai did not shy away from setting up an inquiry about her own son. It was proved that the weaver was innocent. Shocked and ridden with guilt, Malay Rao died soon after. A lone ranger. After Malay Rao's death, Ahilya Bai found her kingdom in grave danger. Gangobatatya, Ahilya Bai's manager, conspired with Raghoba Dada, Peshwa of Pune, and invited him to Maheshwar to take over the reins of Ahilya Bai's kingdom. Raghoba Dada was the uncle of Madhav Rao Peshwa, the 4th Peshwa of the Maratha Empire. He had always dreamt of becoming the Peshwa and was deeply hurt when he failed to secure the position. When Gangoba Tatya reached out to him, Raghuba Dada jumped at this opportunity. He began preparations to go to Maheshwar, quietly and with great stealth. Once there, he planned to challenge Ahilyabai and take over the province of Malwa. Ahilyabai had an extensive network of spies who kept her well informed. She calmly and promptly appointed her loyal defense aide Tukoji Holkar as chief of army. She then wrote to Madhav Rao Peshwe seeking permission to look after the administration herself. She also sent letters to other Maratha nobles requesting their support and the help of their armies. As Raghuba Dada marched on towards Maheshwar, Ahilyabai sent him a message. Fighting you would not affect me, as much as it would affect your prestige if you lose to a woman. Raghuba Dada reached Ujjain. Ahilyabai set out to meet him, and how? She headed a procession of her entire army, elephants and horses. As she set out on this epic journey, people came out in support and admiration to see their queen in all her strength and glory. This expression of love, respect, admiration, and loyalty by the common people was the true measure of her success. Madhav Rao Peshwe instructed Raghuba Dada to return and permitted Ahilyabai to continue the administration of Malwa. She moved her capital from Indore to nearby Maheshwar by the banks of the river Narmada. Humility in prosperity. Ahilyabai was one of the richest rulers in the Maratha Empire. But the Holkars did not use their kingdom's wealth for personal pleasures. Rather than a palace, she lived in a humble two-storied vada. Ahilyabai used to hold court every day. 300 years ago, Ahilyabai was able to grant rights which even today women have to struggle for. She abolished laws that forbade widows from owning property and adopting children. During her time, trade grew and farmers were happy. Diplomatic ties deepened. Art, music, and literature blossomed in the capital. It was indeed an ideal kingdom. Weavers, artisans, sculptors, and artists found support in Maheshwar. Weaving integrity. Even today, Maheshwar is known for its fine cotton and silk cloth. Weavers found their roots in Maheshwar because of Ahilyabai's encouragement. She set up a textile mill there. So fine were the Maheshwari weaves that prosperous officers in the Peshwa courts used to order them to Pune. Looking beyond. Good leaders are able to plan for the future. Ahilyabai was one of the first few nobles to realize the danger of the British monarchy. She understood that the British fought differently from the Indians and recruited a French commander into her army. He trained 4 platoons in the European style of warfare. In 1772, she wrote to the Peshwas, warning them about the danger of getting too close to the British monarchy. In her letter, she wrote, "A tiger can be killed by using a trap of physical force, but a bear has the capacity to hug us and tickle us to death." But the Indian kings, nobles, and generals were so busy fighting among themselves that nobody had the foresight to unite against the British. Ahilya Bai was pained to see this. An everlasting name, 1795. Ahilya Bai passed away in 1795. She was 70 years old. To honor her legacy, the Indian government released a stamp with her name in 1996. An award in her name is given by a social organization in Indore to individuals working for public betterment. The airport at Indore is named Devi Ahilya Bai Airport in her memory. The University of Indore is named Devi Ahilya Bai Vishwavidyalaya after her. For the people, Ahilya Bai stood strong and people trusted her. I am bound to make my subjects happy. I am responsible for my actions. I am accountable to God for everything I do, reads the engraving outside her Maheshwar palace. Thank you everyone for listening this beautiful and real story.